Breaking news exclusively from Blue Eye Media. And now from our global friendly partners.
Breaking news right now, 2 U.S. service members have died in Jordan following Iranian ballistic missile and drone strikes on an American base. 1 service member is missing. 4 were medically evacuated to a hospital. 2 more service members have died in the war in Iran. Donald Trump has long said that the war has been over. Well, it's not over because 2 service members have now died. These deaths are as a result of Iranian strikes on a American base in Jordan over the past several days. These are new strikes. And while these strikes come after the Americans continue to bomb Iran with impunity in a lot of ways. Over the past week, every single night, the United States of America has bombed Iran repeatedly and relentlessly. We have targeted bridges, we have targeted roads, water infrastructure, energy infrastructure, and more. The war is continuing. And now, following Iranian strikes, 2 American service members, 2 more, have died. I'll have more updates for you soon. Follow along for more.
These leftists are hardcore, godless communists who will kill your people, close your churches. They're the greatest threat to our country since its founding 250 years ago. Those are the words of Donald Trump. And this week, Marco Rubio brought representatives from more than 60 countries to Washington, not to discuss the tragedy in Gaza, the disastrous U.S. war in Iran, the climate that is burning with unprecedented heat waves and wildfires. No, to discuss the global threat of the far left. This is part of the Trump administration's policy of manufacturing enemies. This is how authoritarianism works. You convince people that the greatest danger doesn't come from their failed policies. It comes from immigrants, protesters, students, journalists, labor organizers, political dissidents. You tell the public they are under siege, and then you demand extraordinary powers to save them. Look around. National Guard in our streets. ICE terrorizing communities, murdering innocent people, most recently in Texas and Maine. The administration has demonized organizations like CODEPINK, purged career civil servants, concentrated more power in the hands of their loyalists and the presidency. Critics are no longer treated as citizens with different views. They're portrayed as enemies of the state. At the same time, the administration has worked tirelessly to build a sense of an external siege. And it's not just Iran and the Middle East. China is cast as a hostile nation, supposedly manipulating American elections. Every international challenge becomes evidence of a vast conspiracy. Every domestic disagreement is portrayed as serving foreign enemies. That's why they accuse CODEPINK of being funded by the Chinese Communist Party. This is an old playbook. Create fear, create enemies, merge internal dissent with external threats, then claim that only a strong leader freed from democratic constraints can protect the nation. The warning signs of creeping fascism are no longer isolated incidents. History teaches us that democratic institutions are rarely destroyed in one dramatic moment. They are dismantled piece by piece until people wake up and discover their basic rights have disappeared. This is not a moment for complacency. It's a moment for courage. The answer is not to retreat in fear. It's to organize in greater numbers than ever before. Defend immigrants, the right to protest, independent journalism, the rule of law, civil society groups. Defend those being singled out today, because tomorrow the circle of enemies will grow wider. Authoritarianism succeeds when people become isolated, intimidated, and silent. It fails when ordinary people refuse to surrender their rights. The time to fight back is now.
So I'm here with Ashley Brouillette. Her ex-husband, David Brouillette, is the ICE officer who has murdered Juan Sebastian Guerrero. Ashley, it takes a lot of courage for you to speak up on this the way you're doing. From what I've heard that you've said so far about your ex-husband, sounds like honestly an unstable, violent person. So I would imagine that speaking up this way likely puts you at risk. So thank you for speaking up and not being silent. I saw in an interview with another person that you said He told you last year that he was getting hired by ICE, and you didn't even believe him. Can you tell us why at first you didn't even believe that was true?
Um, because of his mental health issues. I'm used to him talking off the wall. So yeah, my response to it really was not that great. It was more of a yeah, sure you did, buddy, type thing. I just I think I was more like, yeah, nobody is gonna keep hiring you being the way you are.
Right. Now, when you say keep hiring him, my understanding is he had other federal jobs before this one.
Correct. He's ex-military. He's ex-police officer. He worked as a correction officer for a little while.
Okay, let's go one by one there. What was his reasoning for being discharged from the military?
Um, well, he got discharged. He got medically discharged.
Okay.
But he actually I've submitted things into the news and stuff where he lied to initially join the military. Um, when they ask you if you've been cleared, from like mental health issues, medications, stuff like that, he marked that he never even experienced any of that.
And what was the mental health issues that he was lying about?
He was diagnosed with manic bipolar at the age of 12, and the psychologist couldn't officially diagnose him with this second one because he was so young, but he said he definitely displays traits of borderline schizophrenia.
How long was he in the military before that discharge?
He was in there from 2007 to, I believe, 2015.
Okay, so about 8 years. Got a medical. Was the medical discharge related to mental health or physical health?
It was related to mental PTSD.
Got it. Did he deploy to Iraq or Afghanistan, anywhere over there?
He was deployed to Afghanistan.
Got it. So then he gets out, gets a job as a police officer. Why didn't that work out?
Um, he, from what I heard, he pulled the weapon out on his partner.
Whoa.
They got into he got into a confrontation, and he pulled his gun on him.
So it sounds like he's quick to pull a gun when he's upset.
Yes.
Um, and then became a firefighter. You say what?
Yes.
What ended his firefighting career?
Um, it is from my understanding, when it's been dug into deep, that, well, first, David ended up suffering from a TBI working in the fire department, but it was due to him not listening and doing whatever he wanted, and a steel beam fell and hit him. Um, his firefighter chief described him as erratic and just does not like authority.
And you said during one of the interviews that he was violent when you guys were together as well.
Yes, I experienced a lot of domestic abuse, physical, emotional, mental, financial. There was even an incident where he pulled the gun on me in our marriage.
What does this say about the screening process to become an ICE agent?
Yeah, it tells me that they really don't thoroughly look at the backgrounds of some of their officers that they're hiring. I believe that the mental health should be looked at as far or as much as, if not more, as the physical experience that these officers have.
No
Um,
kidding. I completely agree with you because I think that, so, I mean, okay, one thing that really grabbed my attention when you first told your story is you said that after the shooting, he called you and asked you to lie for him.
yes. So I got woken up from a call from CNN. I haven't even seen the news yet. And I said, well, I'm going to have to call you back because I don't know what's going on. And
Right.
I reached out. I first initially called David's phone. I unblocked his phone number and called him, and it was just going straight to voicemail. So then I reached out to his current wife on Facebook, and I said, what is going on? Like, I need one of you to call me. I have news stations calling me. Like, what is happening? And he
Right.
called me. I messaged her at 11:27 a.m. and he called me through her Facebook at 11:40 a.m.
Holy
And
smokes.
he said, well, Ashley, what it comes down to is the type of person that people describe me as. So I need everyone that knows me to talk good in my character. And I said, I am not going to lie for you. I'm not going to talk good about you when I don't think you are a good person. And he said, well, don't mention anything about, the abuse and issues that we had in our marriage. And I said, again, I'm not going to lie for you, David. If I'm asked something, I'm going to 100% be honest about it. And
Good for you.
then I
Good
said,
for you.
I said, I said, did you do it? Like, were you there? Is this true? Like, is this you? And he said, yes, I was there. Yes, I did it. It was 100% justified. And I said, where is it justified? Because at that point I had already seen 2 videos from 2 different
Right.
angles.
Right.
And he said, well, he tried to hit me with a car. And I said, no. I said, no, David, no, he didn't. I said, there was no footage of him actually charging at you with a car when you fired your first shot at him. I said, what I saw was the car going around in circles after the fact you shot him. And I said, that's a normal response to somebody who has been shot.
Sure.
And he said, well, I had to do what I had to do. And then he hung up, and then he called me back a couple minutes later and said, are you not going to do what I asked you to do? And I said, no, I'm not. And he said, then don't fucking talk to anybody at all. And then he hung up the phone, and I haven't heard from him since.
Wow. That was my next question, actually, is have you heard from him since? So he admitted to it. He admitted to doing it. Like you said, we've all seen the footage, and nobody has shown me any footage that shows that it was justified in any way. Also, we're learning that Juan Sebastian Guerrero was here legally, had a social security number, and not that. And by the way, not that being here undocumented means you should be shot dead in your car either. But it does add to this case. So, have you heard? Is he still working? Is he been put on leave? Do you know any details?
I know that, well, in the little short phone call that I had with him, I asked where he was. He first told me that he was in protective custody, and I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, I'm in hiding. So he's in hiding somewhere. Um, and I have learned recently that he has changed his phone number, I assume because of all the calls that he's getting.
Right.
But no, nobody knows where he's at or what he's doing. But I will say that when I talked to him, he had an unusual calmness about him that was just very, very creepy. And it's not a reaction that you would expect somebody who just went through and experienced something so horrific
Right.
that, for me, for someone like me or you, that if we had just done something like that, we would be upset and we'd be remorseful about it.
Yep.
If it was truly justifiable, where's the remorse?
Right.
And if you're innocent, why are you hiding? Just his calmness came off a little bit sociopathic to me.
I'd have to
It
agree
was
that
almost like,
that's weird.
yeah, the tone in his voice was more of like, okay, I'm satisfied, I did what I wanted to do.
That's gross. I have to agree with you. Even if a normal person in a shooting, even if a shooting was justified, would not feel good about having just shot and killed a person.
Right.
That's not
Exactly.
normal. So I have to agree with you. Actually, I think that you speaking out takes courage. I think that, especially given your history with this person, and we all know he's a very violent person capable of killing another human, that you're still willing to speak out. I think it's the right thing, and I hope that you telling this story helps bring some accountability and justice for the murder of Juan Sebastian Guerrero. And I appreciate your time today.
Follow Blue Eye Media for exclusive insights and breaking news sources from global-friendly outlets that you won't get from the mainstream TV and radio outlets of America. Learn how to play the flute of the globe and learn the real truth.